Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for the season finale. So that's right, season finale of Loki, season 1, episode 6, for all time, always. Also, there's a contest involved too, so you want to stick around for that kind of stuff too. The announcement of the contest and everything. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. What? Spoilers already? Yeah, thanks, Apple Crow. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching, tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below there. And if you can, hit that like button and the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. And I also have the links to all my pages. So this YouTube channel here, my Facebook page. And for those of you who have Facebook, a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. I'm going to do one little thing here. I'm going to shift the camera slightly that way. Why? Because that's just the anal retentive portion of me that I wanted to do. So there you go. All right. With that said and done. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, what the fuck are you doing here? Go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video you can comment down below in the comment section. And your comment would also count as a contest submission as well. Let me talk about the contest first before we go a little further here, okay? Before we start talking about the video here. So there is a contest going on in this video. That is the grand prize, which is a Loki, shiny Loki variant, I guess you could say, of a Funko Pop. And all you got to do, you got to live in the continental United States. You can leave a comment in the comment section of this video once it becomes video there, and that's your entry. No matter how many comments you put in, you're only going to get one entry. And then next week, around this time, I'm going to do I'm going to basically draw names out of a hat. I'm going to draw two names. One's going to be the winner. One's going to be the runner-up. And then they're going to have 48 hours to email me their addresses. There you go. And if the winner, emails me within 48 hours, they win it. If the runner-up, if the winner doesn't, and then the runner-up gets it if they email me. So, yeah. Can I get a Loki pudding pop? What's a pudding pop? You mean a pudding? Puddin? Sure, if you can find one. Or you make one, or whatever you want to do. Anyway, let's get to the episode, shall we? Damn, that's all I can say. So for those of you who don't read comics, this is probably kind of like a episode kind of thing. But this was aimed squarely at people that were reading comics. This really was. We had Sylvie and Loki going to the Citadel at the end of time. They've defeated Alioth. Alioth? Yeah, Alioth. And they've gotten in to the Citadel at the end of time. They run into Miss Minutes, and Miss Minutes offers them saying, hey, he who remains, who is the one that oversees the timeline, likes you guys. And he's figured out a way to keep you both in the timeline and to give you everything you want. Loki, say you want, you won that battle in New York and you want to kill Thanos. Why not? Oh, and you want to be on the throne of Asgard? Sure, we can make that happen too. And Sylvie, all your memories are going to be changed. So they're all going to be nothing but a good life of memories. And you're going to have a nice life, everything you want. And they're like, no, not going to do it. They're saying that now they are going to be in control of their own destinies from now on. And Miss Minutes is like, well, tried, and she's out. And who do they end up meeting? But he who remains, who we already know is actually Kang. It is Jonathan Majors, of course, who has been cast as Kang for Quantumania, the Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. So yeah, it's pronounced Alioth. Yeah, it's pronounced Alioth. I know how it's pronounced. I actually have it written down here in the phonetic, motherfucker. And the interesting thing is, I know Mufinobi, who isn't here, was bagging on the apple kind of thing, but if you paid attention to the apple never ended. Every time he would eat some of the apple, he should have been done. He should have been eating core at that point, but the apple always would be regenerator. It regenerated every time. So it was kind of one of those things that's showing you that at the end of time has no meaning. And he goes through, and yes, he does some exposition. He says to them, what was going on, what happened essentially, and that he was a 31st century scientist, and he and all the other Kangs and all the other multiverses, they discovered the multiverse all in different times, and they built a doorway. They were able to communicate and greet each other, and as he said, pleasantries were exchanged. Nice hair, nice nose, nice shoes, all that kind of stuff. And they exchanged knowledge. And he said, but there were other kings that were there just for conquest. And that's when the multiversal wars happened. And he goes, it was a mess. And that's what he was afraid of. He's afraid of himself. He's not afraid of everyone else. He's just afraid of himself taking over the universe. And that's what he was trying to prevent by having only one timeline, which you saw was circular. It was around the Citadel. And he basically says that, that's the reason why he's pruning the timeline. And he found in his studies Alioth and controlled him. And Alioth eats time, essentially, is what he does. He eats variants, that kind of thing. So everything that was getting pruned, every timeline that was getting pruned, was going straight to Alioth to eat. That was how they were getting rid of it. And I really kind of dug that. I dug this idea of what he was doing to clean things up, because he was scared of himself. And he's also mad at this point. You can tell he's insane at this point, because he says he's lived millions of lifetimes and he's seen all the different things that are going on. Sylvie keeps trying to kill him and he keeps dodging it, because he says, I know what you're going to do, because it's all there. He goes, everything you've done is because you're following the road that I paved for you, is what he says. You're walking the paved road. But he does say something interesting, because when they want to see what the end of it is, basically, he says, you can't get to the end until you've been changed by the journey, which leads me to believe that he knows everything that's going to come. He gives them two options. He says, one, you can kill me, and basically the multiverse happens and you deal with infinite amounts of Kang, and the multiversal war starts all over again and shit happens. Or both of you take over for me and run the TVA, he says. And basically you prune the timelines, all that stuff. You leave it as one timeline. He goes, I'm tired. He wants to stop doing this, and he wants to give it to them. And they fight about it. Honestly, they do fight about it. Loki has actually seen his other life that we've already seen happen through Endgame. And so he has an idea, and he sees the horror of killing Kang and letting all these multi-Kangs come about. He sees that it is more preferable to have one devil that as Kang is saying, than having these infinitesimal Kangs that are going to do all kinds of shit to the universe, and having multiple villains. And Kang even says, he goes, we're all villains here. We've all done shit. And he goes, but we know this, which is what I like. Raymond says Wiseman going crazy in solitude is ubiquitous in mythologies. Yes, it is. It is. And I do love exactly Apple Crow. I love Jonathan Majors. He is seen chewing in this as well as chewing on that apple, which is great. I love this. And of course, I'm going to get to the other characters too in a minute here, but we're going off the main characters here. Having Sylvie just want to get that rage out of her because since she was a child, she's been being chased by the TVA and she wants to kill whoever was in charge of that. And that is He Who Remains, Kang. And so she basically kicks Loki out into the TVA using Kang's little device. His temp pad, I guess you could say the Uber temp pad, if you will. And she kills Kang. She kills Kang. And Loki, in the meantime, is back at the TVA. And he notices that, well, he runs into Mobius and Hunter B-15, and they both don't recognize him. And he also sees that the statues now are not the timekeepers, but one Kang in kind of battle garb now at this point that is standing there. And that's where we kind of leave off on this. So the other characters, Mobius has released Hunter B-15 from her cell at the TVA, and he goes to confront Ravonna. And he tells Ravonna, we know all about you. And it's because of her pen, the Franklin D. Roosevelt High School pen. And Hunter B-15 has gone back to Ohio in 2018, basically to show the other hunters that Ravonna is a variant just like they are. And by the way, that variant's name of Ravonna is, if you looked on her degree that was on the wall, very prominently behind Hunter B-15, kind of like what I did. The name is Rebecca Tournament. Now, what is Rebecca Tournament? What does that have to do? Well, that is a reference to comics. And that is one of the aliases that Ravonna used when she was Terminix, is what her name was. And she had fled after killing Kang, a version of Kang. She was going to bring him back to life. All this, there's this sick, twisted thing that goes on in the comics between her and Kang killing each other and bringing them back to life. Yeah. Anyway, and she went to 1903 Timely, is what it was called, where she meets up with a version of Kang, who is Victor Timely, is his name in that universe. So Miss Minutes giving Ravonna a certain file, not the file that she asked for, but the file that He Who Remains thought would be better for her, is going to lead her to Kang, or a Kang, if you will. So we're having these, I guess you could say, threads that are not going to be closed because, of course, we're getting a season 2. We saw this at the end credits. There is going to be a season 2 that's going to be coming up. So yeah, that was another one of our hanging threads, if you will, there at that point. And so we've got Loki, not knowing what kind of TVA he's in at the moment, other than it's another ruling Kang, most likely a conqueror Kang at this point. You've got Ravonna has disappeared into, a time door. We don't know where she's going to. Hunter B-15 and Mobius, have their minds been changed, or are they in a different timeline now? Or do we have different TVAs on multiple timelines? We don't know this. That's the other thing we don't know. And yeah, it's a mess. It really is a mess. And all because Sylvie decided to kill Kang. Yeah. So good fucking story. And this actually is what those of us in the comics want to see. And it's going to show those of you who haven't read comics ever, or maybe sporadically when you're a kid, that kind of thing, what kind of great stories are within the comics here. This gives Marvel Studios the free reign to do whatever the fuck they want. I mean, they could tell any story that they want, because now there's multiverse. There's the multiverse. You can have this happen in this universe, that universe. You can have these universes cross over. This is in the comic book parlance, the crossover event of the summer. Well, this is going to be the crossover event of phase 4 is what this is going to be, where every summer what comics usually did was they did a big story that converged through all the comic lines and everyone crossed over with whatever. So that's what this is having the multiverse invade Spider-Man No Way Home, which we already know is going to deal with the multiverse. Quantum Mania, we already know that's going to deal with the multiverse because Kang is in it. We know that Jonathan Majors was hired as Kang. We already have Doctor Strange 2 in the madness of the multiverse. It's in his title. We already know the multiverse is there. So all of the Marvel movies from here on out are going to be dealing with the multiverse. And that's what this is. This is what sets it up. This is what Fahey was working towards, was having these series on Disney Plus set up big plots for the movies. Instead of having to do an entire movie on setting up a plot, you do a Disney Plus TV series, have it worked out there, and then bring it into the movies. And it's genius. It actually is. It really works. Let me get to some of your questions here. Apple Crow says, Major's so awesome, though. Kang's introduction really rubbed me the wrong way, but he's so damn good. I was psyched at the end. I loved this introduction of Kang. It was a Kang. It wasn't the definitive version of Kang. He was a Kang, and he even says this, which is what I liked. Philip says, do you think that good Kang manipulated Femme Loki because none of the male Lokis would have fallen for this trap? No. I think he just was guiding them along. He was tired and he wanted a Loki to take over. And these two happen to work together well. So, and let's talk about the kiss too. Yes, we had the kiss between Sylvie and Loki. And I know people are like, well, that's not a big deal. Yes, it is. It's basically them trusting each other and falling in love with oneself is what it is. And trusting yourself and loving yourself in a way is really what this is. They even say, you know, that they're both Lokis, that they are. Loki even said this in the last episode. They're all the same. All the Lokis are the same. The only thing is with the other Lokis is they were only looking out for themselves, not for all the Lokis as one. So that's kind of where you're getting the difference between Sylvie and Loki here. This Sylvie and Loki. There we go. Apple Crow says, gender fluid mischief gods get it done. They do. Mork says, how close to the comics is this episode in the setup? This is taking it in a different level. Quite honestly, Morks, it's going to be, they're using the comics as a kind of a blueprint, but they're doing their own thing. And I love this. They are adding stuff in from the comics a bit here and there, but they are doing entirely their own thing, which is great. Albatross, they must be really happy with the way the series have worked out. If Kang is going to be both the movies and probably Loki season 2. I would agree. Mork says, and not have to stick to the same actors. Yeah, that's true. They can actually have variant, Iron Man, Captain America's, all that kind of stuff. I'm hoping to see Peggy Carter come back. And also, yes, we're going to have What If. What If is also a multiverse event as well. So I can't forget animation. I give my animation shows a little bit of love as well. Just as long as we get more Red Guardian. Crimson Dynamo. I love Crimson Dynamo. Raymond K. Hessel says, so we'll get a Reed Richards soon? Most likely. Most likely we're going to get Mutants. We're going to get Fantastic Four. We're going to get, this is what is also going to usher in the rest of the Marvel universe that we've been waiting for. And by having the multiverse happen, and this is what everyone should be fucking excited for, is there's endless possibilities. That's what they were saying when Kang was doing his little exposition, is that there are endless possibilities. There are endless timelines, endless multiverses, if you will. And you can pick from any of them and bring stuff in to the Marvel universe, to the MCU. And that's what you get people excited about this. And I go, oh God, that was kind of a boring episode, and too much exposition, too much talkie. No, that's what the talkie is all about, is to tell you what the fuck's coming. Sorry, I just get really excited about it. I was thinking about it. I watched it twice. And yeah, it's just, they did it so well. And like I said, for those of us who've been reading comics all this time, this is just kind of like the icing on the cake. It really is. I never thought I would ever see anything like this in my lifetime. And I'm kind of jazzed that it's happening, quite honestly. So Apple Crow says Deadpool and Korg doing a crossover video sparks hope. Yeah, that's Deadpool's introduction into the MCU. For those of you who haven't seen it, by the way, so Deadpool and Korg actually do a reaction video to Ryan Reynolds' Free Guy movie. I posted it up on the Facebook page, on my Facebook page. It's hilarious as hell, but that's actually Deadpool's insertion into the MCU is really what it is. Done that way, which yeah, I'm hoping we get a real, movie version of that. Mork says, I want a Fantastic Four that redeems all the previous movies. I'm sure we will, Morks. I'm sure we will. And I'm going to stick out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that, what's his name? From A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2, the father, Crix, whatever his name is going to be Reed Richards. And Emily Blunt, I think, is going to be, Sue Richards. That's I'm going to go out on a limb there and just say that's already happened. Penn says TMI Morgs. Yeah, Morgs, we know you do. Apple Crow says I'm adult. Talkie is the best part. Exactly. It is. Feelings and castles. Penn says, I think most people want a better Fantastic Four. Yeah, no, everyone wants a better Fantastic Four movie. Fuck, even that Roger Corman movie that never made it to release was a better Fantastic Four movies than the official movies that we got. They spent money to animate Korg. Yeah, they did. And Taika did the voice for it. So, well, actually, Taika and Ryan are both friends anyway. So that's not a big deal. They were on, in Green Lantern together. They suffered that pain together. Raymond says, I mean, they could have showed a little bit of Nate Richards fighting each other, budgeting it. They did. If you actually looked, so I watched pretty much the entire episode standing in front of my screen, my 65-inch big screen TV. Yeah, it's kind of weird at 12 o'clock at night, standing in front of my TV, and like I'm just like watching it, like, oh my God. And when we saw the little animated versions of Kang, they actually had the helmets on. So they had the comic appropriate costuming on, and I was like, fuck yeah, that was actually kind of cool. And the statue at the end of a Kang that's there actually has the he has the neck piece on, but he doesn't have the helmet on. Yeah. John Krasinski, thank you, Mu Shinobi. Yeah. Yeah, he's already Mr. Fantastic. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he's already been hired, and just Marvel's like, holy shit, how'd that leak? We're gonna deny it till the end. Apple Crow says, screw it, just bring in the Impossible family into the MCU, and with it all Adventure Brothers. Oh, by the way, I did watch the Simpsons, the Loki one that they did, the 6-minute little thing, which is hilarious. Especially since there's a sign in the back at one point that says, this is what happens when Disney buys Marvel and Fox. And it was such a slap in the face to Disney, but at the same time, so fucking funny. It really was. It was actually really good. A little good 6-minute blurb. I highly recommend it. It's on Disney Plus. If you've got it, watch it. It's basically Loki crashing into the Simpsons area. He gets sent to Springfield. And of course, hilarity ensues. Didn't Taika direct Free Guy? I think maybe he didn't direct it. And I don't think he did. No, Apple Crow. Mobius fight was lame, is what Movie Fanobi says. The Mini Kings. I was saying the Mini Kings. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Did you see the Simpsons episode where Bart is Spoiler Man? No, that's one of the newer ones. I know I haven't seen it yet. I know it's on Disney Plus. I just haven't gotten to it. Apple Crow says, just say that he's playing John Harrison, complete with air quotes and lens flare. Yeah. No, this was a great ending. I thought this was a perfect ending to the series and leading straight into the comics. I mean, into the movies themselves. And I love this. I mean, for me, this was the best of all the series so far. WandaVision's great. It's my second favorite. My least favorite, of course, right now is Falcon and Winter Soldier, just because there was some stuff they could have done better. And yeah, it just, that's all it was. But I am definitely looking forward to What If, which is up next in August here, August 11th. Mork says, watch that one. They rip on Marvel and Disney big time. Yeah, they do. The Simpsons one, I know they always rip on Disney and Marvel, and that's what I like about them. They have no shame in that. What's your take on the broken statue? Raymond says. I thought about that. I was going to mention it, and I forgot about it. I believe that is the king that has taken over the TVA. I want to say that there were the timekeepers were actually Kangs, and that there was a fight over how the timeline should be maintained. And he who remains, as it's aptly put in his name there, was the one who won out. And it was between him and one other Kang, and that destruction of that statue is as a result of that. There's more to that whole story than what he told. I'm fairly sure he lied about some stuff. I mean, it is King after all. And he was a little bit on the insane side. Yeah. Applecrow says, I might have to rewatch Loki now, knowing where it goes, so I can get past the parts that irked me. You had parts that irked you? Okay. Penn says, I would still have to just, would have just watched Hiddleston read a phone book, but it's my favorite too, is what she says. Yeah. Applecrow says, is he who remains something from the comic associated with Kang, or is that actually is part of the comic as well? So Kang, as Kang said as He Who Remains said, he goes, she still call me He Who Remains? He goes, I kind of like that, even though it's creepy. He says, but I've been known as a lot of things. A ruler, conqueror is what he says. He Who Remains, jerk. And he's not kidding. King has a whole bunch of fucking different names depending on where he is in the timeline. He's been called Immortus. Again, a ruler, King the Conqueror, He Who Remains. These are all comic titles that he's been given. He's been around since the 60s in the comics, so he gets around quite a bit. Where's the Loki Simpsons on Disney Plus? Movie asks. If you just, it's in the shorts section. I believe if you go to Simpsons, it's right there. It was at the top for me. I mean, it was literally underneath the main bar. You know how they have the main bar of what they want you to watch, and then if you go right below it, it was right there. So yeah, exactly, Raymond. Ramatut. There's rumors that he was Apocalypse. Rumors that he was Doctor Doom. Yeah, there's all kinds of names that Kang has been called throughout the comics. So White Vision works for King, right? Not necessarily. We don't know, Raymond. I think White Vision is something outside of King's influence. Applecrow says, like I said, I really hate that gimmick of using an apple or food or chewing to make them look carefree. So I was kicked out of the moment when it happened. At first, I didn't like the apple either. I don't like when actors are eating and doing dialogue, because I know how many takes it's probably, it's them doing it and then spitting it out. And that's what I'm always thinking of, and that kind of kicks me out too. But this one I actually liked because he was literally chewing scenery, and I got what he was going with this, and I got where they were going with this for the director, and I kind of dug it. It was a meta response in a way, and that's what this whole thing is. It's fairly meta, this series, and I did like that. It was just once I got that he was literally chewing scenery, and that it kept regenerating. The apple kept regenerating, even though we didn't see it regenerate. He kept picking up the apple, and there was always more to bite, which was hilarious. Mork says the Bart episode is season 31, episode 14, called Bart the Bad. Oh yeah, Bart the Bad Guy. Yeah. Raymond says, I'm telling you, it symbolizes eating the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Yeah, it does that too. It does that too, Raymond. Yes. There's all kinds of iconography. I can never say that, but iconic imagery. There you go. That's what that's supposed to be, iconic imagery, and they merged it together into one word that I can't pronounce. So Apple Crow says, I can respect that, but lesser directors have abused it, so that's my instant reaction. Yes, Morks, I know. I'm not going to say it because I can't pronounce it. Iconic imagery. Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. My water glass farted. Iconic. Now at this point, it's just become, no, I'm not going to go any further than that. So, with that said, again, remember, put in your comments once this becomes a video. If you live within the continental United States, again, shipping rates are fucking expensive. They really are. So, to do overseas. So, if you put a comment down below in the comment section of this video, you're in the running for Loki here. Yes. Shiny Loki. Shiny Loki. But you also need to respond back to me once I pick your name and let me know where the fuck you live. And it's not for stalking or anything like that. Although the spy satellites might be overhead. We never know for sure. It's to get that stuff out to you, and it's all going to be packaged well. I'm looking at the packaging right now for where it's going to be at and everything like that. Yeah. Apple Crow says, good luck, people who like Funko Pops. Well, I'm sorry I didn't get you something you didn't like, Apple Crow. It's free. With that said, what else do I have going on this week? Tomorrow I'm off. Friday is another episode of Star Wars: The Bad Batch, and hopefully we actually find a reason for this show actually being into being. Who knows? Maybe the wonders might never cease. We don't know. Saturday will be Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any genre stuff you guys want to talk about, and we talk about it. Sunday will hopefully be, spoiler alert, bee stings, and dog paws. Who knows what happens? Monday, I'll be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet. I'm sure there's stuff out there. I know there's Gunpowder Milkshake that's out there, although that's not genre, but it could be. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out on Netflix anyway, so we'll find out what's happening there. And then next Wednesday, will be the contest results for this contest. I will pick a winner and a runner-up live on the air. So, with the magic hat. Where's the magic hat? With the magic hat, the Sergeant Hatred hat. That's what I use to shuffle everything around. Yes. Sorry, I put that on a heating source that wasn't good. Mork says, I'll comment, but I won't participate because Dennis would send me a Titans Funko instead of. No, I would never do that, Marks. Well, maybe I might. I might send you the Loki and the Titans Funko Pop. That might be. That's good. That's a good one. Do it. All right. Titans suck. The new trailer actually looks pretty damn good for season 3. I just put it up as well. So Dennis wears many heads on this. Yes, I do. Well, I'm a one-man show is what I am. So that's, it's all on me on this one. So thank you to everybody who joined me today in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. Basically, YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos in your vast video library and pops up there just for you. And if you like what you see there, hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. If you really want to know what I'm going to be on, just go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media and all my pages on there as well. Applecrow says Pepper is just an executive producer. Not really. I mean, she's not even that. She's not even the money. She doesn't bring any money in. So, yeah. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Yeah, this is a great episode. I like this series. I really do like this series. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it from the beginning again and just kind of let it all play out. And it was kind of funny too when I was looking for images for the thumbnail here for this episode. I was finding a lot of images from YouTube that were false images. They had stuff like Mobius riding a jet ski. Like, yeah, Owen Wilson on a jet ski. They really did. And it said promo on there. They had Loki taking a throne, like a giant throne. There's a couple different things like that. And I was like, what the fuck? And so it's like multiple, alternate universes kind of thing. And I started laughing, thinking about that. I'm like, that's a great way of throwing people off, but also getting people wanting to watch the episode as well, or the series. Mork says this series short but really good, and I agree. It's Loki, Wanda, Falcon. Yes, exactly. I wouldn't even. I would say. I would agree with you, Marks, on that. I would say Loki's 9, WandaVision 8, and then I would give a 7 to Falcon and Winter Soldier. I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier, I did, but there were things that could have been done better. They went too safe on some of the items that they, especially the racism stuff and stuff like that. They really just kind of went light on it, and the villain kind of sucked. So yeah. Applecrow says, really? I liked Falcon more than Wanda. I liked Wanda better. It was just more inventive. It was something I've never seen on TV before, and they did a great job of it. So, with that said, I'm going to let you guys go for the night. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again on Friday for Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you never know what multiverse you're going to wind up in, because who knows what Kang is running the timeline, or if there's multiple Kangs, or if they're fighting Kangs, or if we're in a multiversal war, or I don't know, if Xenu has come down and decides that they want to eat Tom Cruise's liver. Who knows what's going to happen? Thanks, everybody. I will see you again on Friday. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, get those vaccine shots, wear those masks, and have a good night. Thanks, everybody. Good night.